Hey guys, welcome back to another flashlight review, and today I'm going to be talking about the Convoy S21G. It's the version with the SFT40 3000K, so very warm LED, and it's also high CRI, so measured 97 to 98 CRI. It's pretty much the best of both worlds, so super bright, got that warmth there in the beam that allows you to see a little bit through foggy areas, and of course it's high CRI. And I was actually browsing the Convoy website the other day. That was basically how I came across this light. And I definitely just thought I had to check this thing out. Reached out to Simon from Convoy, and he sent me a free sample of this S21G for review. So I want to go through all my thoughts, what I think about the performance as well of this light, and help you decide whether it's worthwhile getting or not. So one thing I really love about this light is, of course, this clean and minimalistic look, as you can see. And even the branding, which is just underneath the bezel, like right here where the head screws onto the body, it's barely visible, and it reminds me a little bit of the Convoy S6, only in the sense that it follows this minimalistic design. Branding's not visible, barely visible anyway, and there's no extra bits and pieces on here that detracts from this simplistic but effective looking design. Looks quite elegant, and the finish is amazing. It was difficult for me to decide whether to get the polished titanium or the stonewashed version. End up getting the stonewashed because I do have a few other Convoy lights in titanium with the smooth polished finish, and here they are. I just thought I'd bring them in to show you them side by side, because the finish is pretty much the same if you want to get the polished version. Okay, and it does have a little bit more of this kind of refined look, more eye-catching, whereas the stonewash is a little bit more low-key, and especially if you drop it or something like that, it's not going to show up scratches and stuff. But if you do drop this one, you're probably going to notice the scratches a lot more easily. But titanium is a very, very strong metal. It's not like aluminium, which, especially if you've got anodized aluminium, you drop it, you're going to get a very deep scratch in areas. And those aluminium lights, if you drop them too much, they do start looking a little grubby. So this is the box that the S21G comes in. And like most Convoy lights, very basic. I didn't even get a lanyard in this one. The only thing that was in it was just the S21G itself. There's some little details of the light on the side. And yeah, that's basically it. If you want a battery, you need to buy one separately. Here's a little close-up of the Convoy S21G, and like I mentioned before, excellent build quality. And what I like also is that there are no sharp edges, and titanium is one of those metals that if it doesn't have the right machining, smoothed off, and it could be also just due to that stonewash effect as well, really sort of dulls down a lot of the edges. And yeah, it's got this really nice sort of gray, non-reflective look to it. Feels really strong, like it'll survive a drop from the top of a building, definitely. And yeah, for some reason, I think stonewash finish just lends quite well to titanium somehow. And like I mentioned, if I worry a lot less if I drop it, scuffs probably just going to blend in more than, say, on the polished version. And the cutouts are just machined perfectly as well. Simple, as you can see, but effective. Grippy down the battery tube as well. And tail switches also looks to be made of titanium too. And one thing I really like about Convoy lights is that you can just take them apart so easily. No special tools required. Maybe a pair of pliers, screwdriver. That's pretty much about it. This is another stonewashed titanium light that I have. It's the Raylight Pineapple Mini. And yeah, you can see, I mean, they're pretty much on par in terms of quality. I like the fact that with titanium, you get a little bit of extra weight added onto the body, but it's not as significant as, say, a copper or brass flashlight where you really feel the extra weight, and it makes it difficult to carry around as an EDC. This is still suitable as an EDC. It's not as light as aluminium, but yeah, definitely a lot lighter than most of my copper models, and especially the ones of the same size. And it feels like a really premium quality light. Looks and feels like a premium quality light, and I like that it's got this, like I said before, really low key looking design. So the S21G takes a 21700 cell. I've got this one here from Convoy, the Litho color 21700. And the advantage of having this cell in here is, of course, greatly sustained output. Here's a little close up down the top of the bezel, and you can see here got the SFT40 3000K sitting there right at the base. And you can get a few other tints as well, all the way up to 6500K. And it's quite unique that it is a high CRI version of the SFT40. A lot of enthusiasts always cite that the SFT40 falls down in terms of that high CRI performance, but really get the best of both worlds here. Tons of light, warm light, and also high CRI. And you can also get it with the XHP 50.3 high in various tints. And Convoy also provide you a choice with the XHP 50.3 high between the R70 and R90 version, so the high CRI version. Of course, usually with higher CRI lights, you're sacrificing some of that lumen output. Got a simple smooth reflector there as well. Really helps to maximize the range of this flashlight. And the bezel, as you can see, nothing fancy there. Just screws onto the head like that. And yeah, like I said, you can unscrew it easily. There's no crenulation as well. So the Convoy S21G comes with the 12 mode grouping driver. So basically there's a whole bunch of different modes you can select. Once you select it, you forget about it. You just, I think it's good to have those 12 modes in there just in case. For some people, you might need a flashy sort of mode. For some people, you might just need 100% or 50%. You can select all different kinds. I've just got mine with a 5 mode grouping, so that gives me a really good variation of light from pretty much moonlight all the way to 100%. So in terms of how to use the flashlight, press that switch there in the back, okay, and half press to switch modes. Just cycles through all those different modes. And to get into that 12 mode grouping, you'll probably want to go and check the Convoy website, because I've gone through this many times before. It's quite simple. You just basically turn on the light, keep mashing that button, and then you can get into the UI changing interface. You can also turn off mode memory with this light too. So I ran a bunch of ceiling bounce tests, and you can see this is the one on 100%. As soon as you turn the light on, it pretty much begins stepping down. By the 3.5 minute mark, it's just on about 40% output, and that's where it continues pretty much for the rest of the test. Also ran a second ceiling bounce test on 35%, and you can see here the light starts off again on 100% and just drops slowly down to 80% by about the 12-minute mark. And you can see again, that's where it maintains the output for the rest of the test. Also ran a bunch of tests with Multiple Light Master Pro, and you can see here 100%. I got 303 meters of throw on switch on. That's really impressive for such a little flashlight like this. And again, it's really owing it to the SFT40, an extra throw plus that smooth reflector in there. Of course, it does step down quite quickly as soon as you turn that light on though, but it is necessary given that the light is made of titanium. And you can see as well 35%, 209 meters of throw, very respectable. 10% on the 122 meters of throw. More impressively, you can see the CRI here basically range from 97 to 98 on each mode. And the lower the mode, so in that 0.1% mode, I measured 2,679K. And on the 100% mode, 2,941. So it's definitely a slight difference. And yeah, once you reach the higher modes, you do get that 3,000K. But it is a little bit more orange on the lower modes. Thanks to the SFT40 in this light, the beam is very throwy, but still with a decent amount of spill. I recommend getting that XHP 50.3 high version if you don't mind sacrificing a little bit of throw, but it's going to produce more light, a larger hotspot, more spill, and less heat as well. So some considerations you need to be aware of before you get this light. Again, it's Convoy flashlights, so mostly don't come with onboard charging, and That, of course, includes the S21G. Also doesn't come with a battery included. So for beginners, you're going to need to make sure that you have either another flashlight that you can charge the battery in, and or an external charger. It also gets quite hot on the higher modes, and this is due to the titanium host. Okay, it's mainly that head that gets pretty hot. The tube gets warm further up, but still comfortable to hold down the battery tube. And did notice the light steps down quickly, but it has to do that, especially with a small host like this. And you see a lot of these other titanium flashlights use smaller batteries and basically underpowered LEDs in there, just with less current running through them, especially because it's just more difficult to dissipate that heat. But the S21G still, I mean, it's probably the largest titanium light that I own, so it still is able to dissipate that heat quite significantly. And of course, with titanium, it is a little bit heavier than aluminium. That can be a pro or con. The pros is that it's going to be definitely feels a bit more premium. There's something about that weight that makes it feel that way, but it's also tougher. The titanium is just less likely to scratch and dent, especially if you drop it. And even if you do, there's no anodizing. So basically, it's going to just blend in a bit more and kind of contribute to that rustic look rather than look a bit kind of messy and tattered after a while. It's still light enough to carry around, though I wish Convoy had included some kind of clip down on the back. You're going to have to find another one from a flashlight that you own and transplant it on here. Overall, I think this is one of the best looking EDC lights in my collection. That stone wash titanium build just gives the light a premium feel, makes it more durable, of course slightly heavier, but still comfortable enough to pocket. Somehow the inclusion of the high CRI SFT40 and larger 21700 cell just makes this light feel more practical, more of a tool given the wider range of applications. So if you're interested, go ahead and check out the link in the description to the official Convoy store. If you have any questions, also just let me know in the comments. I'm sure I've missed out a few things here or there. If you like the video, do me a big favor and click the like button, share it with a friend. This helps to get my video out to more people and it doesn't cost you a cent. And finally, if you want to keep up to date with the latest flashlight reviews and news, make sure you subscribe. Okay, I've got the Convoy S21G. This is the lowest mode, can't really see it. 5 mode grouping. Second here, about 1%, 10%. And this is, I mean, this gets right through to the center of the field. Wow. That highest mode, 5th mode, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that 4th mode, 35%. Unbelievable. And I really like how that beam is just perfectly circular as well. Tons of spill. And the warmth of that light just cuts through, really just cuts through the night sky. And that's the moon actually up in the near the trees there. But easily reaches all the way to the back of those trees with, just easy work of that. I mean, even the 3rd, 4th mode here is sufficient to reach the back of those trees. I'll go for a little walk. Convoy S21G.
100%. Cycling through the different modes. Great visibility and throw. Nice sort of round beam.